Let's go. Let's go. If you just let us.
All right, so we are going to go ahead and get to the highly anticipated segment that everybody wants to listen to. The internet wins again. Hold on, I gotta get the air horns on this. There we go. All right, internet wins again, where we talk about the hottest topics and some of the most toxic events that have happened on the internet. So to start it off, and this is going to be very quick because you already know how I feel about this guy. Tory Lanez finally got charged. He's looking at a maximum of 22 years.
No, it was the minimum.
No, it's maximum.
I was like,
I read it wrong.
Oh, they were saying minimum. Everywhere I was
Some was saying minimum, some was saying I think it's the maximum.
Okay, so the maximum.
Obviously,
that's got to be maximum.
I think it's the maximum.
Okay.
So
That's how they always start you when you get charged. Every time I've been charged, they always tell me the big number.
Yeah, they gonna yeah.
So he said, and then he tweeted and said that this is a charge, not a conviction. So he's still upholding his innocence. We're going to have to just let this one play out in the court, but it looks like we've already kind of figured out on this podcast. We already talked about. We already think that he's guilty. Everybody else thinks he's guilty, and the album was trash.
We're gonna be shocked if he come out innocent, though. Shocked as hell.
Because it's about, honestly, at the end of the day, it's about what you could prove in court. It's not about what the truth is.
Yeah,
I mean, and some shit be obvious, but it's like
they got enough to charge him for 22 years with illegal firearms and.
You're gonna probably get hit with a reckless endangerment.
But think about
and
it.
He's not a
did
California
OJ
resident, so I'm not sure. Like he can't be a
did.
gun
Did he
owner.
win?
He did win too.
I'm like, did OJ do it?
Hell yeah, OJ did it. Nigga.
Did he win his case though?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's different when you have
I don't know what that brother did. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened.
She said that OJ do it. I said yes. Yes, he did.
I think it's different though when you have an unregistered gun.
Yeah. Because he's not a. I don't.
He's
to
not
my
even a
knowledge, he's not a. He's not a.
Not even a
I don't
citizen.
think he's a resident of California.
No,
He's
yeah.
not a resident of the United States. He's on a temporary residency.
Yeah,
I think he's probably on a
think
work
he's gonna
visa.
get deported.
If he's on a work visa, he's done.
getting deported, bro.
Yeah, he's getting
He's gonna get
deported.
deported.
After we just talked about gun safety and education.
Absolutely.
God damn it,
Yeah,
Tory.
Don't be that guy.
With
Please
your
don't be that
partners
guy.
for an
Absolutely.
altercation.
That's
shoot
actually,
a
I'm
girl.
glad you said that because that's a
To
good
shoot a girl.
That's actually a good example of just
What
being
not to do?
reckless and
What
being
not to do?
being on some weird shit. Like to me, that's just real weirdo. Like you're actually pointing a gun at a woman, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like that shit to me is so like you're such a buster, coward,
Right.
mark, nigga, whatever.
Now, let me ask you a
any
real
other
question
word I
though.
can think of.
Okay,
Yeah.
in Tory's defense, do you think he could get with the pause with Meg Thee Stallion?
The pause.
I don't think so. I don't think he can stand there and
Why
box.
are
with
you
her,
wanting
bro.
to fight Meg Thee Stallion in the
Yeah,
first place?
Anyway.
you think she put hands on him?
I don't
Or you think she give him?
Oh, she giving him business, bro.
I think
It
Megan
happened
will
to-
probably dog walk his
Come
ass,
on, bro.
He already has a short man complex.
But
bro.
see, but we already pieced this together before the reports came out.
Gotcha.
we
Right?
did, yeah.
You already. So this is what Tory. This is. I'm done talking
Talk
about
to
Tory.
him.
Look,
Talk
no.
to him, focus.
You cannot try to do too much when you already got it good.
Facts.
So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
were
yeah.
over there trying to flirt with Kylie,
Yeah, he
and
was
you
doing
already
a
had
lot,
Meg
bro.
there, and you was thinking I don't know what he was
He
thinking.
already
that was-
won, bro. He was already.
You
That was a
can't do
weird
that with
situation,
a black
bruh.
woman. You cannot do that. You cannot sit there and bring her, and then you spinning, flirting all up in
No,
Kylie's
he got
face.
brought. He was the guest.
He was the
Oh,
guest, bro.
So that makes
He
it
was
even
the
worse.
guest,
he was
bro.
the
So you was the
Yes.
guest, and you trying to get with Kylie in front of Meg,
Him and August
then-
Alsina don't know how to just be guests and
and
just
then-
be good with it, bro. They
and
can't just be good with it.
and then you ride home with her thinking everything's gonna be all good.
God damn, what's wrong with these niggas in high places making bad decisions?
Anyway.
August was a
It's the
victim.
cocaine.
Right?
Hey,
Yeah. He
no,
was.
no.
That's
Seriously,
facts.
I'm gonna tell you what it was. Right, I'm glad she said that because it was. It was. I'm gonna tell you, it was California cocaine and the
Gorgeous
freedom
women.
that they feel
Gorgeous
like they
black
have
women.
out here.
And the
For some
alcohol.
reason, these artists come to California and lose their damn mind.
They do.
They lose their mind. They don't move like how a native out here is gonna move because we already know what it
know
is.
better. Yeah,
Well,
we know
you know what I'm
better.
saying?
And not to defend Tory, but when you go to LA, it's different.
Yeah.
It's a different
yeah,
light,
for
it's
sure.
different
For
atmosphere.
sure.
I didn't want to say I hate LA.
No, but it's the same thing. Like
It's
when
not
you
my
go to
vibe
like
either.
Vegas, like when you go to Vegas, and if you've never been there before, it hits different.
Y'all-
Yeah.
Like
People-
and you start doing stuff that you never thought you was
Right.
gonna do. You start
Yeah.
drinking more.
Yeah.
The lights are there, and you start losing
Yeah.
your mind.
Man,
bro.
we was at the club. I'm like, is that some cocaine on the ground. What is going on?
Hey, broke
was like, what should I do?
even
I'm
broke
like,
people
put it
move
back.
to LA and all of a sudden they Hollywood.
Bro, it's
You've
weird.
been there
two
for
different LAs.
13
though.
minutes, bro.
That's true.
Oh,
It's
there
two
is.
different LAs, bro. It really is. Like, and living there, like, you can see it. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you connect it to, if you got friends and family there that really live in LA, then you'll see. Like, there's Hollywood and then there's Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So these people that come to LA and live this whole LA lifestyle, like you're saying, like, be broke. It'd be 15 Instagram models in a studio bedroom, in a studio apartment, right?
Bro, where's the lie?
Right? You know
Where's
what I'm saying?
How many times have we talked about that? I know people right now that got 8 people to one house.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I know,
crazy.
bro. That's you're doing okay.
Stop it.
You're doing okay for a 1 of 8.
Just stop it.
Okay,
I've
You're doing
seen
all right.
I just seen the meme where it was like the girls in the hotel and there's 4 of them head to
Oh,
foot
all in the bed.
I'm like, y'all be doing that?
Yeah, they
Facts.
do. Yeah, they do.
All-Star Weekend, what you think
I'm about
it
to say
is?
All-Star Weekend. That's the #1 weekend they be doing it.
Hey, what you think it is on All-Star
Oh
Weekend?
my God. I don't.
Niggas too. It's not just the girl.
No,
it's not
yeah,
just the
niggas-
girl.
That's
niggas be
crazy.
doing
That
it
is
too.
crazy.
Them niggas get one bedroom.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
And they sleep
Nah,
like
that's real.
They sleep like
That's
Tetris
real.
blocks
On the floor.
That's real.
Them niggas look like
on the
Tetris
little,
Right,
on the
on the
little, on the
floor.
little couch, the
Yeah,
little couch
absolutely.
that's in there.
Yeah.
Feet hanging off the end.
Man. and
Man.
no diss to the actors and the actresses that do that because they're really there and
To
they're
work. They're
grinding,
really
right?
trying to work.
Because I've
Right.
seen it. There's a difference. We talking about you Instagram models that's up here like stacked like sardines. Y'all sharing the same Louis
Clothes.
bag.
Oh
you know what I'm
my
saying?
God.
Y'all going up to these parties. Y'all going to these it's LA's a trip. That part of LA is crazy.
Switching clothes. Yeah.
Man,
We,
listen.
all right. Next.
Hey,
topic.
Shine said that.
Buy my stuff though, please.
Shout out to Instagram models in
Yeah,
LA.
yeah. Shout out to one of the real ones. You feel me?
Sitting out there like sardines.
All right.
Oh, my face hurts.
So Will Smith clears up the crime rumors. We're gonna go ahead and play the clip, and then we're gonna respond to it. All right. So let me make sure I get this thing up. So this is I guess a Black Table Talk Part 2.
Right.
That's not a man who's acting at all.
It's
That
Roger.
dude is crushed.
Everybody's like, poor Will, poor Will, poor Will, poor Will.
Gotta make it serious, not funny.
I was like, oh, they think
And
I'm
I made
sad.
it too serious.
They think I'm sad.
And they
All right.
Hey, he even did
So-
that. He even did that nigga voice where you know you like, they think I'm sad.
He always talk like
So
that.
so
Wait.
let's give some context. So So there was a video where they were bringing awareness, I think, to Robin Williams' cause, right? And he was drinking coffee, or he was crying. He was wiping his eyes, and he was saying that when he gets dehydrated, that his eyes start watering. And he was saying, man, like on that Black Table Talk or Red Table Talk, excuse me, that people thought I was crying. And he said it was 12 o'clock. We were just coming off a flight, or we were going to a flight, something like that. And he said I was just tired and I was
Right.
dehydrated. He said, and they really thought I was sad. Like they really thought I was
Look at
sad.
Shy's face.
So
Look at Shy's face. Look at his face.
first,
Look at his face.
so the question is, do we believe Will, and why in our society can men not be vulnerable and show emotion?
Facts. You thought that was cap right away, huh?
It sounded a little bit like it, but man, I don't know what to say. I don't know what was going through. I mean, even if he was crying, like it didn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? Because men, you can express your way. You can express yourself any way you want to. I'm not gonna look at a man no different unless you start doing like just a really weirdo
Tory
shit.
Lanez stuff.
Yeah, you start doing weirdo shit. Now that was kind of out there, but if I'll take him at his word, I'm not gonna call the man a liar. I don't know.
I take him at his word, but I feel like the only thing about that explanation to me is like, bro, I feel like that nigga was high. I feel like that's but dehydrated sound
Okay.
like
Okay.
the way
That
they was
nigga
just
is
red
like,
and they was just
okay.
like, you know how people just when people high and they just got that stare that's just like and their eyes is hella red.
I wasn't ready for that one.
Hey, go check the video, see if his lips was chapped.
I'm sorry.
Oh man.
He looked high, but ain't nobody gonna come out and be like, bro, I was high.
Bro,
Right.
I feel two ways about, like you said. I number one, I'm gonna stick to my guns. There's no way that man sat through that whole situation twice and that didn't hurt. There's
yes.
no way.
That's a
What?
fact.
It was how long was the interview? We was mad that the interview was only 15 minutes.
Because they played us, bro. Because they didn't want to get into the real facts of what
Yeah, for
happened,
sure.
right?
Even we don't know what was cut
No,
out.
we even
Yeah,
still we
for
don't know what's
sure.
cut out. But there's no way as a man, right? And as tough as I'm supposed to be all the time, if I have to relive that situation and we're already working on being better, that hurts all over again.
Absolutely.
That's
But you
more
telling
sorrows
it, you
wounds.
telling it like the situation was just her cheating. The situation was, I left your ass. I had another relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You had another relationship, and then we decided to come back together.
Hey, I'm gonna ask you
I
a
feel
real
like
question.
that
How
makes
many
it
niggas?
different.
How many niggas?
I didn't say he
how
didn't
many
feel
niggas-
away.
Hold on.
No,
Let's
like-
I want to hear Steph's point.
I'm not gonna say that he didn't feel away, but it's not what y'all trying to make it out to be. Like he got to relive the fact that she cheated on him. No, he got to relive the fact that August decided to be public about their separation. But we got to be clear about the separation.
I don't care why. I don't care how he explained he was hurt. That nigga was hurt. At the end of the day, Will. If for you to stand in there in that moment and say they thought I was sad, you're a liar. Period. I don't.
No,
care if you were
he
sad.
meant y'all thought I was sad on that video. I'm
He
not
was
saying he
sad
wasn't
on that video. You
sad
could see it in
2
his-
years
you
ago
could
when
see-
this happened.
you could see
Right,
it in that
right.
nigga.
Because
His
this was
demeanor-
hella long
his
ago.
demeanor
You could see
Like,
that. You could see that
His
nigga's
demeanor
face.
was
His
fucked
shoulders
up.
was down.
Yeah.
That nigga. You
Yeah.
know when you see a broken person, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
He
ask you a
wasn't
real
about- he
ass
didn't wanna be
question. When niggas cheat, right, and then they find. How many times have you heard like somebody cheat and then they find out the woman cheats and then he kills the family and suicide, right? Because that's how men are, bro. It doesn't just go away because you were a cheater, because you had a different life. It doesn't mean that you still don't get hurt. It doesn't mean that you're still not sad. It's human nature, bro. Some people handle it better than others, and Willard Smith is handling it like a motherfucking champ.
But why would you be sad if you were in another
It
relationship?
doesn't. You can't ask somebody that question because it happens all the time. People get caught cheating, and then they're still sad when the other person cheats on them.
But I think it's different because they were supposedly separated, right?
It doesn't matter.
He said in the original interview, I was done, like completely done. Like I didn't have no plans
Right.
of this coming back. And I
Then
mean,
maybe-
being in another relationship,
Well,
Right. But that doesn't negate your point, because you can still be separated and feel like
And
that
still
maybe
be
if you
sad.
think he's gonna move on,
Right.
but still feel some kind of way if you're
Especially if you're already back in it and you guys are working on it,
Right.
and then it comes back open again.
right.
And the way she
and
handled
it
it
was
was-
public all that time.
she
it
was kind of
private.
arrogant. Like she was like downplaying it.
Like, it
it
didn't
was
matter.
some more shit
Like, it
to it.
didn't
Like
matter.
you know what
I
I'm saying?
feel like she did that though because she's like, we got to sit here and talk about my shit.
Which
we
is
don't have to sit
understandable.
here and talk
Which is
about your
understandable.
shit.
Which is
So
understandable.
I feel like her demeanor even in that clip was kind of like,
Here we
yeah,
go
you
talking about
laughing
this
and
shit
keep
again.
keying because we only got to talk about my shit in the public. Your shit is not public.
Because,
Boy,
like
I
you
don't
said, to
think-
your
I don't
point,
think Will moved the nigga, whoever he was. That I don't think he was living in the house.
or
But
took the
that's
nigga or took
My
him
whole
on
thing
vacations
was
with
like
the family.
the Will have to knock on the bedroom door like when he came home. Like,
Hey,
to
to your point, Steph.net, you did right. Niggas is mad because Will messed with grown women and Jada slept
No,
with
that's
his
what I'm
kid.
saying. She, I understand that she's mad, but at the end of the
Right.
day,
'Cause August is trash.
whoever he messed with was a grown ass motherfucker that wasn't gonna make it public.
Right.
You messed with a child that
Right.
came back and doing childish shit.
Yeah.
Yo
This-
bad.
But this is why I say
Yeah.
this is why I still say that even though they're working on it and they've gotten past, you're not gonna tell me I was done with your ass, completely done with you, and then you guys are together right now. Okay, you didn't just make up your mind in that moment, my nigga. You still had feelings, you still had love, you still had emotion because you still thought it could come back together.
well, he was going. You know, you go through something like that.
Yeah,
you're gonna
but
go
you
through
get
that.
you get mad,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
you get mad. I've had people break up with me and then hit me 3-4 months later, like, yo, what's popping?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you weren't really done. You felt
like
were
in the
upset
moment-
enough
in the
in
moment
that
you thought
moment.
you
I
were
think because
done.
I've been in a situation where we married now, but we
Right.
was done for 4 whole years.
But I think that's different.
For a
Though,
whole
between-
year,
I think
we
that's
was
different.
done.
I think that's
Right.
different between when you're married and when you're married, and then you have that spiritual bond, than versus when you're dating and you're having sex and you're going through the motions of learning someone. They have an entire lifetime together. You
Well,
know what
and
I mean?
kids.
and
And
kids,
kids.
and,
And
an empire.
And I think in that moment, when I watched that video, the first thing that came to mind was Will was done. Will was like, he was fed up. He was mad.
Yeah, he
He was
was.
mad. Well, I don't think he
You
was
can see
sad.
it.
I think he was mad.
Yeah.
Because not only is this stuff coming back up again,
Right.
I'm having to sit here and talk about it.
Right.
I'm having to tell people that I didn't want knowing what I
Right.
was dealing with. And I think it made him look less than a man because all the jokes were, what was August giving Jada that you couldn't give her?
Right.
Right?
Right.
And she said
That's
in
an ego
multiple
check.
other interviews saying, we'll always be life partners. Will always be there no matter what I do. So I think this again, she was already alluding to it, and I feel like she tried to like weasel her way out of it by saying, "Oh well, you know, Will like that one interview when Will's like, I realized I can never make her happy. Like she needs to be happy on her own." So I think that's a strike to your ego when the woman that you're married with, the one that you want to live the rest of your life with, you come to a realization that you may not satisfy, and I'm not saying sexual, I just mean just in general, that you cannot satisfy her. But we all got to realize that when somebody's not right internally, there's nothing that you can do to make her right. And I think Jada, she did not own up to the fact that she was broken and that she was trying to seek healing through healing other people.
Well,
That's what she said.
She said it.
No.
But she
after
did.
Will checked her, because Will was like, because she was like, "Oh, I was in an entanglement, or I was in a situation," and then remember he was like, "You were in an entanglement,"
No,
or you
she
were.
said she was in entanglement. And she was like, an entanglement.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
Look at the face.
Yeah,
She's like-
because she tried to change.
An entanglement, Jada.
Because
You fucking a nigga. That's this bullshit.
right, so she tried to change the lingo of it by saying entanglement,
Right,
and then Will was like, "Really?
Right,
Like, no,
right.
like call it for what it is."
Right.
And then that's when she kind of went a little bit deeper and said, "Yeah, I realized that I had to heal. I was healing myself through other people." So I think
Is that real healing? You can't heal yourself.
No, there are people that do that, bro.
No, it's
people
not.
that do that, bro.
Do you think that's
It's
real
not.
healing?
No,
I don't
and
think so
obviously
either.
I hope that obviously she sees the error in what she was doing.
Yes.
Right.
But I feel like the difference why her shit was in an entanglement was because it was an entanglement. Like this
was.
is not a
It was.
normal. It's not
It
a
for sure
normal
was.
situation where you just went out and dated somebody else.
Yeah.
This is somebody that's connected. This is somebody that is your
Right.
your,
Your
that's an
son's friend.
entanglement.
Your
Now
son's
what
friend.
Will did in the that was just a regular
That was
ass.
just-
I'm
yeah.
done with this
I'm done.
relationship.
That's
I'm
true.
finna get in another
Right.
one.
He-
Your
he-
shit was connected.
And
to
from
some
what I'm
whole
hearing,
other
they had an
shit.
open relationship too. So I mean, there's that. And to be honest, I feel like this nigga Will. I feel like Jada never got over Pac in the first place.
Never.
So Will's been chasing a ghost.
Yes.
This
Oh,
whole
Mr.
Look-
Pac-Man?
man, look
Come
at
on,
the
bro.
interview. Have y'all ever noticed the interview with Jada when she talks about Pac? Yo, she lights up.
Bro,
Oh,
I'm gonna
like-
tell you what's
yo.
crazy. Because Willow was writing letters to Pac.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was so many years before Willow was even ever born or existed. Right? So for her to understand that the love that her mom had, I said this in a previous
think you
podcast.
did say it, yeah.
I said this in a previous podcast. That is weird to me.
Yeah.
That is weird that your daughter is like, can you come back and make my mommy happy?
Wow,
That's
I never knew that.
crazy
But
for your
that's
daughter to be
Yeah, that's
writing like
crazy.
that.
But I think that just speaks to what we were saying before, where Jada again needs to heal herself.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
still haven't gotten over that,
Yeah.
that was 24 years ago,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and like, we all have people in our lives that will come in that maybe we have a better bond with, that we love genuinely, and it's just off the bat that chemistry. Jada and Pac had that chemistry,
Right.
But I think Jada also got off by trying to help Pac through whatever he was going
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
And that was that's where
Again, that's what she should have
Again.
started
that's
her
when she
healing
feels
process.
the best of herself is when
Right.
she feels like she can
Well,
help somebody
people.
go
Yeah,
through
yeah,
what
yeah.
she's going
Y'all
through.
be dragging her talking about, oh, she's fake or they're fake for having this platform. But obviously, if that's something that she heals herself through, it would make sense for her to
Yeah,
have,
that's-
her to have a
no,
platform
for sure.
where she helps people.
Helps people for sure.
But are you?
I
but
agree
are
with
you?
you. I
But are
agree
you
with you
healing
100%.
somebody
Fact, if you're
through
not healed.
somebody else
If you're not healed.
if you haven't dealt with your own
Facts.
issues?
So that I agree
And that's
with
why
you.
I say that's why I
I
say
mean, I
it's
still feel like what
I
she
agree
does
with-
is helpful. I feel like her
no,
platform is still
absolutely.
helpful.
But is it?
I mean, it's sad that she can't help herself.
Right.
No, so I agree with you 100%. I agree that she does need this. She absolutely needs this. But then she also needs to go ahead and she should have taken the prereqs of dealing with her
Fixing
own
yourself
self
first.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Because
Absolutely.
she is very intelligent and she has a lot of insight and that comes from living a lot of life and seeing a lot of damage.
And experience.
So
Yeah, for sure.
she can relate to a lot of people on that scale to where and she's nurturing and she's got that you know what I'm saying? So that may be her calling in life and she's doing a damn good job at it.
And-
But the problem is if she hasn't dealt with it within her own person,
Yeah.
then she's always going to be
Yeah,
damaging someone else.
it's definitely some deflection going on.
Because she didn't help. She helped August for sure, but she also damaged him.
Right, and
Oh,
I think
she
that's
tore-
where
yeah,
I think
bro.
that's where my issue is that you can't heal if you're not being honest.
Absolutely.
And her and Will were not being honest, and obviously you were trying to protect your family, and I get that, but then that should not be the platform where you're asking people to be honest with you at your table, but then you're not being honest with us.
Right.
Because then when it came out, it was like, well, what's the truth? What's not the truth? What's this? What's that? And then we're questioning everything. And it's like, well, has this been a play the whole entire time? Because the open marriage thing has been out there for more than 10 years.
Right.
And they've always denied it.
Right.
Yep.
And then August thing came out. They always denied it. He's just a
Right.
family friend.
Right.
And then they made August look crazy.
Yeah, they
because
did.
August was telling his truth. And then y'all was, we were all sitting here and, we were just like, oh, August is lying. He's
I gave
just
him
trying to
trash
get
as
promo.
fuck. I
He's trying to
gave
get
him trash as
marketing.
fuck.
But then it came out that he told the truth.
Yeah.
Still
And
trash
then
as
it's
fuck.
like, and then,
Still trash as
I
fuck.
believe
and
you.
then because, and what I was saying, because Will and Jada sit on that pedestal and they
Yeah.
have a platform,
Right.
they can come to the table and be like, oh, well, yeah, this is why we did it. And then they
Right.
don't really have any damage to their reputation because of who they
They've
are.
already
had a
But
pre-reg.
August already had damage because we were thinking that he was lying automatically because of who they were.
Right.
And I don't
I
think
didn't.
that
I
I
didn't think he was
automatically
lying
think
at
he was
all.
lying.
Yeah, I believed him.
I
was
still
like,
feel
I was
like it
like,
was
it
trash,
could, my
though.
thing was like, I don't have any reason to believe he's lying,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I don't have no reason to believe they lying
Right.
either. So it's
Right.
kind of
Right.
like one of
Gotta
those
wait till-
situations.
let the chips
yeah,
fall where
it's
they
like
may.
it's one of those situations. Like we'll see. Like I said, we'll see what she said on her red table talk, and
We'll
she
see.
told
Yeah.
us what was real.
So the other question
Barely.
that was why do men feel like that they cannot be vulnerable and expose their emotions?
Did you see how we did Will?
Yeah.
As a public and
As
I'm-
a collective.
as a collective
For
as a
sure.
collective, Will was made the target of all sacrifices.
Yeah.
He came out and instead of like we talked about off air again. I like to go back to these conversations. We talked about the difference of when Will did it, we call Will a sucker. We call Will a sucker because he allowed another man to sleep with his wife. So there are a lot of things that we didn't accept.
Well, and so let's be clear too. Well, that never got cleared up.
Right.
August
Right.
said that he went to Will and Will gave him the
Right.
blessing.
So this is so
I
again,
believe
he
that.
did.
I do too.
I believe that in
They was doing
and
some
what they
freaky
told
shit.
the story of them being separated. I feel like even as a man, if somebody's separated from somebody and you're cool with that man, you still gonna go to them before
Facts.
you do anything.
Facts.
Right,
You are.
but see the way that August
If you're a
this
stand-up man.
and this is what I don't like how August did it. August didn't give context, and maybe because we didn't let him have the context, it wasn't like Will and Jada were together and I'm giving you permission. They were separated, and it seemed like Will was ready to move
But he
on.
never. I feel like he didn't clarify that because it's a better story.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
If you
for
let
sure.
people run with their own idea of what it is.
What
No,
is
and
that?
it did exactly what it was supposed to
It
do.
was
It
supposed
sold
to do.
merchandise and it sold albums.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So going back to the vulnerability thing, I feel like if Will was Jada, we would have still dragged Will, and then we would have felt for Jada. We would have felt
the roles were
if the
reversed.
roles were reversed,
Gotcha.
right? We would have felt for Jada. We would have called Will all kind of assholes and this and that and the third, and that would have been a collective between men and women alike.
I agree.
You're right, but because Jada is a woman and there's already premonition that Will has had other relationships, the women cheered for Jada in this instance, right? And we found excuses for the way that the thing came down, and then we still destroyed Will, right? So either way for him, it was a lose-lose situation,
was.
which is basically how society treats men. And Steph makes a lot of good points when she says that she tells men that you got to suck it up and don't cry and don't this and don't that. But that's because that's just the culture in which we were raised. Men, it's hard for men to be vulnerable with. And this is my personal experience. I can't speak for anyone else. But when I'm an asshole, right? When I'm an asshole, I get called an asshole. But the respect I get is a little bit different, okay? As opposed to when I sit down and I'm having conversations and I'm like, well, I don't like when you do this or this makes me feel a certain way, right? The finger is instantly pointed back, but you do, but you do, but you do, but you do, but you do. Well, suck it up, bro. Stop being emotional. I've had two chicks in my life call me bitches to my face. And two chicks, I'm 6'4", bruh, right? Because of the type of people that they dealt with previously, how they dealt with those guys, right? I've been jumped by women because of the idea that I'm not supposed to fight back. You understand what I'm saying? Because I did have these conversations. I mean, it's the same girl cheated on me. She had her friends come over. I'm talking to her. They're jumping me, bro. I'm fighting girls 4-on-1, right? But it started out with me not being hyper hostile, right? It started out with me trying to sitting down and having the conversation. Now, if I would have been a different kind of guy and just kicked her the fuck out, I feel like I would have never had to deal with that situation.
Right.
That kind of leads into a whole nother topic because there's a lot of women out there whose love language is violence. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
crazy.
I've personally dealt with
You know that?
a woman before where her love language was violence. She told me one time
Hell no.
that if because I don't put hands on her. I never put hands on her. So her thing was to me was like, why don't you put hands on me? I can't remember how she said it, but basically she was saying, I feel like you don't love me because we don't get into fist fights. And she would try to swing on me, run me over the whole shit, right?
I've
been in that
Talking
situation.
about old girl?
Close.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was.
I feel like some people like toxic shit,
Absolutely.
and that's how they've been shown love.
Absolutely.
Because I'm like, for somebody to tell you like, well, you don't be tripping. Like I tell you I'm doing this. You ain't even say nothing. I'm like,
Right.
am I supposed to trip? Am I
Right,
supposed
right.
to check your phone?
Like, yeah,
am I supposed
right.
to act crazy?
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
that's real. It's people like that.
Yeah,
that shit's
and
sad.
And if you do a little research on them, like it's always the thing. Oh, the last relationship it
Yep.
was abusive,
Yep.
super toxic.
Yep.
The one before that, so they enter in. I get in a relationship with them knowing that they've had these things. I'm the polar opposite of the last dude they dealt with because I don't deal with my shit like that. You know what I'm
Neither
saying?
can.
I've seen women get abused and I'm just not about that. I don't express myself like that. I talk. Or I don't talk. It's probably one of
That's
my problems. I
mine.
don't
That's
say
me,
nothing.
bro. I
won't,
shut down.
I'll just get in my own head and just go quiet. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? But
right.
yeah, man, if she felt like me not putting hands on her was a problem.
That's
I'm like, yo, I'm
crazy.
not built like that.
Well, and I think because in those
You a
instances
mark.
where
yeah.
women,
Yeah.
Oh, Mark, you ain't gonna hit me. You a
bitch
Mark.
ass nigga. Like, look, all right,
Bro.
we gonna chill with the bitch.
right,
Like that.
right. I think that happens because in those instances where women are abused, right afterwards, then it's gaslighting. Like, oh, like you made me do this, and if I didn't love you, I wouldn't be tripping.
Right.
Yep.
And then it's like, so then they equate, or if you don't go over the top mad,
Right.
then you don't care.
Right. Right.
That's why I feel away. I mean I understand this one, but I feel away with men hitting their female children and then telling them it's because I love you. I be feeling away about that because
That
I feel like it
makes
just
sense. I
sends
can
the
see how that makes
wrong
sense.
message.
I can see that.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
can actually see that.
I
can
don't.
see
That's
that.
why I feel I'm real.
That's a good point.
That's
a
actually,
good
I never
point.
really even thought about that. That's a good
That's
point.
a good. Hey, let me
That's
see.
flames.
Yeah,
That's flames.
that was
That's a good
fire. That was fire, man.
Sometimes
You
it
gotta
only
really
takes
look
one
at it.
voice.
Yeah, hey.
You know, hey, no, I
Gotta
never
be
thought
careful
about it
with
that
that.
way. I never thought about it that way.
I hadn't either. That's crazy.
My mom, for me personally, my discipline. I mean, I won't say I never got whipped by my dad, but my discipline came from my mom. My mom would always, even if I did, it would be like, all right, that's enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's kind of like
if we're in a situation like that, I agree. I would 100% rather her mom deal with her in that
Discipline you.
Absolutely.
for sure because
Absolutely.
for sure because then the message is and because I guess subconsciously I kind of feel like you do because I it's either grandma or the mom, right? I really try my hardest not to have to be in that role, but my son, I feel like I have to check him differently because he's going to deal with men.
Yeah.
Right? And
Absolutely.
then the response of how men handle things is completely different
Absolutely.
than how women handle
Absolutely.
That makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
That makes
saying?
perfect
Yeah.
sense.
one thing too that I wanted to say as far as like with the men being vulnerable is that I feel like a lot of men be like, ask this question, like, why can't men be vulnerable? But then also perpetuate the narrative of men not being able to be vulnerable. Like, you can't ask the question and say this is what we need or what we want, but then be like, dragon wheel.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
perpetuating
Right.
these narratives.
Right.
Like
Right.
sometimes the answer is not being a part of the problem no more. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
got to
yeah.
start changing. That's why I'm like, I ain't even gonna participate in this.
Well, I think, yeah, and I think generally speaking, I think you're absolutely right. Which I think on this podcast we were like, somebody needs to check on Will because
Yeah.
we don't know what that's. For one, most people in that situation, you're not seen in the public eye.
Well, that's why I don't
So,
like. That's
for
why I don't
sure.
like
you
him.
can keep it. You can
For
kind of
sure.
keep that
But
in
that's why I
house.
didn't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
him laughing it off, bro. Because
But
Well, that was the
that's the
defense. That was the
right.
defense
But
mechanism.
that's what I'm saying though. That's why I'm gonna stick to my guns and say that I know that internally that hurt.
Oh, hell
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? That hurt. So you can laugh it off, but we agree. You know, we in our group we have our laughs at things or whatever. Like you said, we can do both.
Right.
We can find the funny because we are those type of people, right?
Right.
That's just who we are. But at the same time, like you just said, the seriousness of some people seeing the jokes made at Will, that's how they feel like they should handle everything. because
Right.
they don't understand that it's just jokes.
Right.
They don't understand that there's a greater issue that Will's dealing with.
But is it his responsibility? Does he have to use a situation that he didn't want to be public to now be the spokesperson for? Let me tell my feelings so that people can understand.
doesn't have to.
He
He
doesn't
you know
have
what
to.
I'm saying?
It's
You
just
really
a
don't
price.
have that
It's-
responsibility.
It's the price of fame, really.
It is
It's,
the price
it's,
of fame.
it's a brand because now he has a brand to protect. Because like Rob was saying, or G was saying, like anytime that we're handling something like this, it's not in the public eye.
Right.
So Will is a
coming,
whole brand out here.
Yeah.
So he was dealing with it, and he was probably like, to be honest, Will's from West Philly. He's probably like, man, fuck that shit. I ain't gotta say none of these people. But
Right.
then his brand, he was like, gosh, now I gotta go out here and explain why I reacted
bunch of
how I
motherfuckers that
reacted.
don't matter in
Exactly.
life.
Well, and then you also have to put into the point, because there was an interview that he said that he felt intimidated by Pac when
I remember
during
that interview.
during that time
Absolutely.
period, and because he was rapping clean, because he was
I remember
the
that.
Will Smith from Philly,
Yep.
and he was a little light skinned, like it was always that Will's not
Absolutely.
masculine enough
Right.
to be who he is, and then to
Right.
now deal with this
Right.
publicly,
Right.
and then on top of that, before
And
this,
now
right,
he's
he
gotta
was doing all those Instagram
Yep.
videos, doing all
Yeah.
the motivation,
Yep.
telling people what to do.
Right.
So it makes it look like, man, like I'm out here giving people advice on how to
And
be a
my
better
own shit's
man,
fucked up.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I'm getting this thrown back in my face.
Right.
So that had to been, but I think it wasn't his responsibility. But I think it would have been impactful for him to sit at a table, because that's what that platform was for, was to be honest, and say, yo, like that really hurt.
Yeah.
Facts.
Like,
Facts.
now-
you know how much
now-
of the narrative
now-
that could have changed for
Now
for
we're
us?
getting through it, and
Come
we're
on,
working
bro.
through it, and we're in a better place. But I'm gonna be honest, that what you did and how it played out, that really hurt.
Yeah.
But
You
I
know
think,
why?
I
Yeah.
think because he has skeletons
You
too.
can't, you
Boom.
can't tell the whole
Yeah,
story.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
sit at
So
the,
he
you
didn't
can't sit at the
want-
table
Right.
playing
There
the
you
Right.
go. Because
Yeah.
that's
I
in
feel
order
you.
for that
I feel
conversation
you.
to
I see
happen,
where you going.
he would have to apologize to Jada for all the shit that he
He did, yes.
Right.
Right. Or
So that's why he couldn't have that
it's gonna
conversation.
open up that can of worms that's been floating around.
Yeah.
That they've been on some freaky shit.
Yeah.
So
You gotta tell the whole story.
But this
That's
is
true.
what you said. This is why you have to be honest. This is why you have to be honest on your platform. This is why I love our platform, because I talk about things. I mean, we all talk about a lot of.
I still keep stuff to myself though.
No,
Because
you
you
do.
still. I mean,
No,
at the
no.
end of the day, it's your choice to share
Right.
what you're willing to share.
But,
Right,
but when
right.
it comes down to our opinions, and we don't really get into our own personal family life, right? We're not volunteering information that we're having an open marriage or a relationship, right? Because then that sets a standard for how people are gonna view you,
Right.
Yeah.
right? So if you don't have the right to be hurt at
Yeah.
this point in the game, this is why the women didn't side with Will, because Will had already expressed that and her have already expressed that they had an open relationship. Now you want us to feel bad that somebody came out and said something about it?
Which is odd in itself.
But that's what
'cause
you
it's
said. It's
like-
balanced, bro.
Yeah, it has
It's
to be balanced. And it's just like y'all was saying, like it really, they got some stuff in their closet, and I feel like that's why Will didn't go into detail about what he was doing, because it's going to bring up other people and it's going to expose the shit
might
they've
be
been
exposed
doing.
to
And
something
that's
why they
they
kept it
can't
to
afford to
15
get
minutes.
exposed.
Absolutely.
And they may be in situations themselves. So
Absolutely.
now there's like a whole
Right.
train
For sure.
of closets that's getting opened up.
Absolutely.
And
That's why
you
they
might
just
you might
open and close
really
it real
really
Man,
wreck somebody's
listen,
family.
Let me tell you, money and power gives you access to things that the normal person is not
Yeah.
going to have.
That's facts.
And they've been on some shit. They've been rich for a long time.
That's great.
And the pinnacle of what a black marriage
Absolutely.
looks like. So I think they were trying to protect that as well.
Yep.
So, but August pulled the rug up under him. All right.
Yep.
So speaking of honesty, transparency, and we talked about child abuse just a minute ago.
You showed it.
We are going to talk about some local
was
news
a bar.
that we are going to be very delicate with, because it's all alleged. So I want to put that there first, that it's all alleged. There has been news that a very prominent church in Sacramento, St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church, has been put in a very difficult situation because of some allegations of molestation and child abuse from one of the pastors that serves there. I'm not too sure if he's still currently serving there or how long he did, but Steph is going to get to the information. But we're going to talk about it, and the main question that arises with this, and Steph is going to give us all the details, is should pastors be required to be mandatory reporters? And that's the question we're going to get before, after we get all the information from Steph.
So, Gianna Lee said that her stepfather, who was Pastor John Bernard Black Sr., molested and raped her from the age of 11 years old. And basically, her mom knew about it, and the church knew about it, or at least Pastor Ephraim Williams knew about it, and basically didn't believe her. Pretty much, in a nutshell, they did not
Both
believe her.
The mom and
the
church.
and the church did not believe her. And recently, a law passed to where now it increased the statute of limitation
To 40 years.
to 40 years of where you can report. So, I mean, if had that not been passed, she wouldn't have been able to come forward. So, she is suing the church, the pastors, her mama, all. She's suing everybody, as she should.
That's crazy.
So, he actually retired. He stepped down Tuesday.
The
Black-
pastor
The pastor.
that's accused of the molestation.
Yes,
Okay.
Tuesday.
And
Clearly.
Ephraim Williams
He had already
retired.
been retired, I think.
I think it was sometime either early this year or last year.
Yeah. So, I mean, and she said that this happened repeatedly at their home, parking
the
lot at the
church.
church. Like, what?
Wow.
And
So-
I was reading one of the quotes that Ephraim Williams said, I guess when it was brought to him, was he said, "We don't lie on good pastors."
Yeah.
So
And the way that hit, it was just like, it to me, my thing was like, wow, the saddest part is I feel like I should be more shocked
yes.
in a lot of ways. Like,
No,
when
you
I heard
wasn't.
that, I'm like, damn, that sounds like shit we've been hearing all our life.
Right.
Like-
That one uncle, don't go over there, but we ain't gonna tell you why.
That's
Right.
And I think with all the stuff happening in the Catholic Church, I think
Exactly.
it's desensitized us when this came up, because I felt the same way. I wasn't surprised, and it's like,
Man.
dang, like why am I not surprised?
That's
And
sad.
that should be shocking news.
No,
So
it shouldn't, because even though these are churches, these are still men.
Men.
They're
yeah.
still men that deal on a fleshly level. You understand what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? You might have some knowledge of the Bible or some, but these are still men who have evil fleshly desires and so on and
perverted.
so forth. I can't put anything past anyone.
Absolutely.
That's
right?
true.
So,
Absolutely.
so I'm not surprised. What I am surprised about is how come it wasn't reported.
No, that's the part that I was like, I wasn't surprised.
And-
That's what.
and-
Yeah.
That's the cold part. Is I
Well,
was like,
because I can see it both ways.
I'm not
So,
surprised
but
that
that's
it
a-
was a reporter that she wasn't believed, or that they told her to stop
Right,
lying on
right.
good pastors. Like, that sounds like,
Bro,
It
when you
sounds
read the
normal.
article
Hold on.
and it says she
And-
lied on
Sounds
stuff,
normal.
and
everything's
mess
alleged.
that up.
Right.
Yes.
We don't have any facts. We don't know. This is
Allegedly.
This is alleged. So, but we've seen this before in other areas, other churches. So, I guess the question again that we want to ask is, should pastors or clergy members be required to mandatory, or should it be mandatory for them to report cases like this? Because so in California, they are considered required to report, except for confidential conversations, just like a therapist. So a therapist, if you disclose things within a therapist session, they do not have to report that mandatory, because it's within the confinements of that.
well, that's what
private
they said. They
conversation.
said that she was in therapy with Pastor Williams,
Which is why he was
Which is-
not
yeah.
required to report. But just because it's legally right doesn't mean that it's morally
Morally
right.
correct.
And we're talking about morally because this is obviously dealing with
spiritually.
the church,
Right.
right? So the question is, should a pastor be required to report? Because that crosses the line of the confidentiality that if you're, because like in a Catholic church, you're going to confess. You're going to
Right.
a confession. So you feel like that you're open to confess whatever that you can through that pastor. If that were to change, then obviously you feel like that maybe there's some things that you can't confess. And in their faith, that's part of their doctrine, that you have to be able to confess to a pastor. So that's probably why there's a little bit of hang up, because some states they are required, some states they're not.
And to me, he in the biblical sense, he's the shepherd of that flock, right? And if he's responsible for each individual person, so I do believe that therapy is the right way to go. But I also believe that in the protective nature that you're supposed to have, that needs to be reported. Unfortunately, we're not surprised that it's not reported. Right. I'm shocked that it's not reported, because that would be my first action, because I would rather it go through the case and them get the evidence and then have the conversation with him like, hey, we have to report this, whether you did it or not. You have to go, because my dad was arrested for rape allegations, but it came back negative, right? So that's the process. The process isn't, I can't believe you because you're a minor. The process is
Clear your name.
if you feel unprotected in this household,
Then we
and
need to go through
I
the
am the
process.
person assigned to protecting your life,
Facts.
then we need to go through the processes of the legal processes, right? There is no separation of church and state when it comes to children being molested or
Absolutely
raped,
not.
or women being raped, or boys being raped. You can't separate that, bro.
Right.
You have to do your you are obligated, like morally
and spiritually.
not
legally, but morally and
It
spiritually.
don't matter
yes.
because the church should be operating spiritually anyway.
No, I know.
I mean,
That's
You understand what I'm saying?
Let's keep it a
So-
buck. Like the way our ancestors would have handled
killed
it,
him,
they would have killed him. I mean, let's
Facts.
keep it a buck. Like that's what would have happened. The allegation would have got out, and dude would have been gone. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things that you don't do. You can't, like, it's crazy. Like, you take these rules of the Torah and the Tanakh, and you try to, or the Bible, whatever you want to call it, you try to remix them. You can't remix them, bro.
Bro,
Ancestors-
it says
nah, bro.
the Bible says let some things not even be named amongst you, bro.
Right, like-
not even to let that be mentioned with your name, bro. So the fact that it even came up, and then I'm gonna be done, it should have been reported. The investigation should have went forth, right? And then if the investigation proves that he had not been, because it's rape too, so we're gonna find DNA.
crazy.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
period.
find.
It's gonna
we're
be
gonna
evidence.
find DNA. There's gonna be evidence, and if you didn't do it, then you're off the hook.
Right, you good. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
As the pastor though, you have to have that conversation with him and the family. Hey, we're sitting down and this is what we're doing.
Right.
Because I can't have this on my conscience and on my name and on my head.
Period. I can't live with that.
I don't want to carry that around.
Facts.
Ever. And
So-
I feel like it's the conversation of it reopen the conversation of protecting black women, because I feel like
Absolutely.
it gets. I feel like people only look at it on one level, and I feel like this is showing how deep it goes. This
Yeah.
is church, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, you know what I'm saying. This is people trusted.
The last place
And-
you would think it would happen.
Exactly, and I feel like I think that's what we're trying to say is, or what we're trying to get men to realize how close it is. You know what I mean, and how much like. I feel like a lot of men feel like they're protecting their daughters a lot of the time, but I feel like they don't realize how far that protection gotta go. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
can't just go from I don't want you in these streets having a baby.
Right.
period. It's
Right.
it's
That's-
so
that's-
much
that's-
deeper
that's
than
about,
that.
That's about the
Right.
gist
So
of
much
where-
deeper than
where
I
most
told
men-
Don't
y'all
bring no
on that
niggas
last
over here. I'm gonna
episode.
beat your ass.
Yeah.
No.
No.
On that last episode, I said even down to when people, whole family kicking, everybody sending kids off by themselves. Don't do that either. No supervision.
Well,
Don't do
especially
that.
if you have foreknowledge of that there may have been somebody in your family that was
Not
molesting
even if
another
you
child.
don't.
No, I know. I'm
'Cause
just
you don't
saying.
know
No,
Even if you
no,
don't,
no,
bro.
what I'm saying is, but no, and normally you know, and then you hear those conversations. Don't go to Uncle Something's house. Don't
Not
be
even
sitting
with
on his
uncles. I'm
lap.
talking about with other. You got older cousins, younger cousins.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you
I
sending them all
I
off by
gotta-
themselves. You don't know what's
think
going
that's
on. You
right.
just
Right.
assume
Hold on.
like, oh, that's the cousin.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
the, you know,
So-
that's so and so.
Yeah.
Right.
We're supposed to trust
Or even
them.
those cousins that ain't really cousins.
So,
Especially
so
that.
as
Come on.
a black woman, because I think in this instance, we need to hear more from you. How did you feel? We don't know if it's true or not, but how did you feel when the quote was, "We don't lie on good pastors" came out? Because it seemed like that the black girl's safety was put on the back burner to protect the hierarchy of the elders or the deacons or the leadership within the church, because he was thinking, which I'm assuming, if that was said or not, that this allegation could break down the foundation of the church instead of caring about her safety. So as a black woman, how did that make you feel when
Damn,
you
that's a
read
hell of
that?
a way to put it, because that's kind of what it
Man,
seems like.
I'm telling you that's what really hit the hardest, because it's like, damn, we've been being told this, or made to, even not even being specifically told,
Right.
but made to feel and conditioned
There you go.
to stay in that position of seen and not heard. We do that to children a lot, not even just young black girls. Children are seen and not heard. And it's just sad to me that our safety, like I mean, I hate to bring up that
It's
quote that
neglected.
we're below black men. Like black men, protecting black men comes before,
Protecting black women.
you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
before
yeah.
us, our feelings, our safety, our bodies, everything.
Right.
Black men, protecting black men comes before that.
Yeah.
And that's
I would actually,
Crazy.
I agree with that.
that's crazy.
Yep.
I feel like I feel like you're right to feel that way.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, what better example to show that than this?
Yeah.
Right,
It's
because this
crazy.
is supposed to be your safety. This is supposed to be where you come in and
sure.
you dump all the woes from the week, you dump all the warfare that you've gone through spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, and you come here to refuel and recharge and get back for the next week. And if you don't have that there, then where are you supposed to get it from?
Right.
I also feel like it's a lack of. It shows how much. Remember, I told you that we don't have examples. Remember, I told you that you have to go back to how we grow up and we don't have examples, and then all of a sudden we're supposed to be men and be these great guys.
Right.
This is an example of not having an example.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? Because the ball on this is one case. I'm waiting to see who else comes forth.
Because
Right?
there may be more.
Because-
yeah, that's true.
because-
Yeah, 'cause I don't
because-
feel like this was his first
Because
time.
this is, remember the Me Too movement? How it's just boom, 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 boom.
That's
With
true.
Weinstein,
That's
boom,
true.
boom, boom, boom,
That's
boom.
true.
We just don't know.
Yeah.
She alleges that this happened, right? And then there may be more people that
may be
allege from that 5,000 people is a lot of people, sir.
In a
Or
congregation.
or
It's a lot
not
of
even,
people.
or
That's
maybe
crazy.
not even at that church.
Right.
This
Everywhere.
This may bring
Everywhere.
up
For
the
sure.
courage for other women to speak about
Everywhere.
what's been going on in maybe some other
Facts.
churches. And I think that in this instance, it's horrific because, like what Steph said, it said that that she was not shocked by it, and I feel like that when we say that we protect, like that was a question that we had. I think it was on episode 7 where he was like, "Well, I don't see where black men don't protect black women." This is
Prime
case,
example.
prime
Right.
example of
Prime.
when black men are not stepping up and
Prime.
protecting, and not just one; it's multiple black
Bro, this-
men,
and-
right?
and
Be-
it's a-
because I
yeah.
think you were saying on our meeting call that you talked to somebody that had heard
Yep.
of this previously
Yep.
in the past,
Before it even came out into the
before it
news.
even came out
Yep.
in the news. So we have
Yep.
to, as black men, for one, step up and protect black women in all instances, not just like we were saying with
Right.
their dating instances, but we also have to realize that in churches, especially if you are in clergy or if you are in leadership, that like what Roger just said, you are the shepherd of that flock.
Facts.
And just because it is legal does not mean that it is right. And you
Absolutely.
need to step up and say something or report it, even if it's going to put you in a negative light for the moment, because you not saying something
Bro.
is going to cause way more pain. So you're more worried about your reputation and losing the church than you are more worried about somebody getting molested
Let's
over
talk
and
about
over
how
again.
let's talk
And
about
that's
how
crazy.
that would let's talk about how that would have helped the church grow. Let's
Right.
talk about the safe haven that would have created for women.
Not for men.
Who cares?
No.
No,
I'm
but when
saying,
it's not-
but that's what
Right.
the fear was, is that you ratted out one of your own,
Right.
Yeah.
and then other people are not going to want to serve with you
who's-
because
But what is your primary objective?
exactly.
as
No,
a-
I
Bingo.
agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree
That
with
is
you.
your
We
primary
said
objective.
what the agenda was.
Yeah.
Of not
Yeah,
saying
but when
Yeah.
you step into that role, when you say that you want to live by the word of God, then that's what you are charged of. That's what you're charged with. When you take on, I can't be an electrical engineer and I want to go outside and use a shovel every day. I'm not doing my job. You understand what I'm saying? I can't say I want to be a dad and then have kids and then just think child support is the means of raising my child. That's not how it works.
See, but I think the reason why it's like that is because as black men, there's not many spaces where we feel like we have privilege or we feel like we
Right.
have power.
Right.
Or we feel like that we're in charge.
That's a bar, bro.
At
You should
one
give
point in
yourself some.
time in church, as a clergy member, that's the one place where you have
Only
control
place.
over every single decision and you can do whatever it is that you want, which is why it's dangerous because you have the freedom to do what you want, and the people around you will help protect you
Right.
because they don't want to
So
lose
you-
their position
So
in
you're
power.
saying,
Absolutely.
So you're saying
And
being a pastor and a cop is the same thing.
Oh, I feel like overall
It's-
too though.
it's-
When it comes to power,
When it comes to
absolutely.
just
yeah.
the people who didn't have the power earlier, they rise into a point of power,
Yeah,
and then
it's
they
true.
misguide and abuse their power.
Absolutely.
I feel like what black men overall need to see is that protecting black women does not take away from y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like every time it comes to protecting black women, all of a sudden turns into well, y'all trying to attack black men. Like,
Right.
no,
Yeah.
we protecting black women.
Black
and if
people.
you're one of the black
Right,
men
black people,
that they
right.
need to be protected from,
Right.
So
Then
be
you gotta
it.
go,
that's just
bro.
what it
So
is.
be it. You gotta go.
Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's not an
Right.
attack on
I-
every black man. It's an attack on the ones
Right.
that need it.
They need
Right.
to go.
that need to go.
Right.
period.
I never feel a way about women having opinions about black men from the perspective of I'm the nigga doing it.
Exactly.
Right? I
Yep.
never do.
Yep. Yep.
I never do. I always want to hear what women feel because, like I said in the beginning, how do we build if we don't have these conversations?
Right.
That's true.
I always where it's tough at is that gray area, like I said several shows on this podcast. Understanding the type of person that you are dealing with, understanding their background, understanding their history, understanding their relationship with their father, their mother, understanding how their family moves. Bro, when you deal with certain people, you invite certain environments to come into your life.
Yeah.
Right.
It is super critical to understand the type of people that you're dealing with. Right? We don't know. I don't know if they knew what this pastor had gone through in his life or whatever, or even if it was a conversation. Right? But something is off with you if you're a grown man sleeping next to your wife and you leave your wife to touch on an 11-year-old girl.
Yeah, that's
there
facts.
There are issues that should have been addressed. And as soon as that little girl said, I tell my daughter and my son, if anyone ever touches you inappropriately, we handle that immediately.
Facts.
Yeah.
There is no. I would never believe an adult that says they didn't do it.
Right.
My children have no reason to make that
Lie.
up.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Well, why would you lie about something like
Right.
that? Right. So
You're 11. You're not thinking about sex.
I think that also brings up the case that I think that in these
Especially
in
20
these-
years ago.
Yeah.
in these situations
Crazy.
that churches need to be a little bit more proactive. There needs to be background checks. There needs to
Absolutely.
be all of that before
That's a
you put
bar.
anybody
Give yourself some
in
more,
leadership,
bro.
man.
That's
So
bars.
so we're
They
gonna
put ATMs in church. They could damn sure do background checks.
Absolutely.
God.
Yeah,
Cause Shine
Yeah,
got
man.
2 in churches right
hey,
now.
some of them ties need to start going to some of them background checks. You know what I mean? So all right. We're gonna
Let's go. If you just let us go. Let's go. Let's go. If you just let go.